I like how US is more focused on quality over quantity, and
60 billion US dollars in 2019.
60 billion
That's
is
close
crazy.
to Russia's entire annual military spending. Russia has a lot of outdated vehicles with questionable performance in case of a real
Bro, that was one of the craziest statements I've ever heard. Yo, what's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. You are here at the right spot because today is going to be a very exciting video. I'm going to be reacting to how strong the US military is, and I'm very much looking forward to this video. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Bimal Reacts. I also have another channel where I react to like a lot of music videos. So if you're interested, let me know in the comment section. The link is in the description. And yeah, so we're so excited because in today's world we have China, Russia, and so many other countries, but US has always been the strongest one, and I'm very looking forward to see how. So with that being said, stay tuned for this authentic and fun reaction video. So without any further delay, thank you for visiting, and let's get into the video. Alright guys, how strong is the US military? Let's go. Alright.
Why is
there
the
you
US
go.
military the strongest? Great military
Okay.
powers have been appearing and disappearing since the beginning of history. Now is the time for the United States of America to be the leader in military might. But what makes it so powerful? Will its power remain undisputed? Are there already signs of weakness? Would it really stand in a conflict with potential rivals like China or Russia?
Exactly,
To
that's
find
what I was
out,
talking
we should
to.
analyse why exactly the US military is considered the strongest.
Very good intro, by the way.
The US
Okay.
has 1,400,000 active military personnel. This figure places it in third place in this category. China has the largest army with slightly above 2 million soldiers, while India comes in second place. This doesn't sound that impressive, but what makes the US military stand out is not necessarily the raw number of men. The US
Guys, hold on. This is super interesting because, like when it comes to the number of military, they said that US is actually in the top 3, but it's quality over quantity. It's amazing because like you have the China and India, they have like a lot of military personnel and so on, but US is only third, but it is the strongest. That shows how US has like limited amount of personnel, but they're like super qualitative and strong. So that's super interesting to know.
China has the last place, necessarily the raw number of men. The US has unquestionable air supremacy. The US military is number 1 in air power, with 13,264 total military aircraft.
Oh, that's a
total
lot.
That is
That's a
greater
lot.
than the other 5 greatest air forces combined.
That is crazy. I didn't realize that.
Air-to-air fighters, 715 ground attack aircraft, 945 transportation aircraft, 5,768 helicopters, and 967 attack helicopters. The US is number 1 in each aircraft category, except for air-to-ground forces, where it's slightly topped by Russia. The US
I'm not
has a
surprised,
powerful
I'm not
navy
surprised.
that is designed to work in conjunction with its air forces. It has 20 aircraft carriers, 11 are regular fixed-wing carriers, while 9 are capable of hosting only helicopters and short takeoff planes like the F-35B. This is almost half of the world's total number of aircraft carriers, while most of the others belong to allied countries. If we take into account only regular fixed-wing aircraft capacity, the total combined deck space of the US aircraft carriers is over twice that of all the other nations combined. To complement this, the US Navy has the greatest number of destroyers and ranks third in the number of submarines.
Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The numbers of the US naval strength are a bit tricky. If we count the total number of naval assets, the US falls in 4th place, behind Russia and China, and even behind North Korea.
We have North Korea at the
boasts a
top.
surprising
I'm
first
surprised.
place.
Yeah.
However, in case of a maritime conflict, it would still be hard to counter the power of the US Navy, supported by overwhelming air supremacy and allied forces.
Alright, this is super interesting. I like how US really emphasizes more on the Air Force. That is something it's like really important to have, because not like a lot of countries have that. And US being the strongest in every field, especially in the Air Force, it really gives them like a lot of great advantage. I just watched the movie like Top Gun Maverick, and that was crazy, but interesting.
Land power. The US is
Oh.
slightly behind Russia regarding raw numbers. American ground forces number 6,289 tanks,
Oh, okay.
39,000 armoured vehicles, 1,465 self-propelled artillery, and 1,366 rocket projectors. However,
Okay.
Russia has a lot of outdated vehicles with questionable performance in case of a real
Bro, that was one of the craziest statement I've ever heard. They just told that Russia has the biggest equipment, but a lot of them are outdated. Like, do they have some expired items? That was one of the funniest things I ever heard here. That is really funny, bro. That's crazy.
Meanwhile, the US military has a broad technological edge. The US has
Okay.
5,800 nuclear warheads that make it the world's second largest in nuclear war power. In this
That's
video,
crazy.
we're analysing the conventional military strength, but it can't be denied that a nuclear arsenal does bring a certain status. Even if things don't escalate to a full-blown nuclear war, it's intimidating to any country to be armoured with such nuclear power.
That's true.
The quality. The US Army consists entirely of trained professionals, and many have real combat experience. Since the beginning of this century, the US has been involved in military conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia,
That's
Libya,
very true, okay?
Uganda, and Yemen. While other countries still rely on conscripts to fill the numbers, the US can field an army of well-trained, experienced professionals. The equipment, the military assets, and the technology used in combat have excellent quality. This is the defining reason why US casualties are usually fewer than those of their adversaries.
Guys, this is something that I've been telling, US might have like less military personnel as compared to like Russia and China and India, but they have the most advanced skilled personnel, like they have like a lot of experience and so on. And I like how US is more focused on quality over quantity, and that is why it is this superpower, and I like how the video is kind of talking about that. So it's really interesting.
A strong ability to project power is another defining trait of the United States military. Size, technology, and experience are nothing if you can't reach the enemy.
There you go.
Power
And that's what the
projection
US
is the
great
ability
at.
of a state to deploy and sustain forces outside its territory. Only a few states are capable to overcome the difficulties that involve power projection, and the US excels at it. This is made possible by several factors.
Okay.
This is
Guys,
the
come
thinnest
on.
armor ever.
I'm very sorry about this ad, by the way.
Introducing
The home base of the US is safe. The neighbouring countries are friendly. Potential enemies are far away. The large landmass makes it a country that is hard to invade. It also has coastlines along 2 oceans and strategic islands that hold military bases. The US forces can reach far, fast, and deploy great numbers of forces supported by the enforcement of air and sea superiority, combined with excellent transportation capabilities. Even if it doesn't engage in combat, the US can enforce naval and air blockades that can severely cripple an enemy's economy. The US has by far the largest network of military bases operating outside of its territory.
This is very true, like I recently traveled to the Philippines and like South Africa too, so I was talking to like a lot of locals, and like knowing the history of the country, a lot of people told me that US still has some of the bases in that country, and it's really interesting how US is one of the nations that has its base all over the world, and that gives them like a lot of advantage, so I agree with that.
Information regarding the exact number and location of such bases involves classified information, so we can only estimate the total extent of the overseas military presence. Back in 2013, the Pentagon stated that there were around 600 military bases overseas. A rough estimate would be around 1,000 overseas US military compounds. Approximately 165,000 military personnel is stationed outside the United States.
That
This
is
doesn't
a
include
great,
areas
like a lot of people
conflict such
outside.
as Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The US has significant forces deployed in around 55 countries and autonomous territories.
55 is crazy.
It is also estimated that more than 150 countries have a certain degree of US military presence. Alliances.
Oh
The
yeah, okay,
United
this is
States can
interesting.
rely on a vast network of alliances. It is
I
the
agree.
de facto leader of NATO, the world's strongest military alliance. 18 other countries are designated as major non-NATO allies. This list includes countries like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Thailand, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Egypt, Israel, Argentina, and Brazil. Taiwan's status is a bit more complicated and it can be considered a de facto ally. Some countries are not formal allies but have a strong strategic partnership with the US. One
This is really interesting, guys. You know how US is like a part of NATO, but also we have like Russia, China, and North Korea. So like if one of those countries like actually fight, you have the European country and the US versus like the Russia and China, you know. What do you think, you know, who is gonna win? Especially when it comes to nuclear power, everybody's over. But you know, just let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But so far, I don't think anyone can beat the US, so
notable example is India, that participates in regular military drills together with US forces and some of its allies.
okay,
Economy.
let's go India.
Modern warfare is sustained in the long term by two main factors: the capacity to produce military equipment and the capacity to spend money on defence. American defence companies are the indisputable top producers of weaponry. Among the world's top 10 defence suppliers, 5 of them are American companies. Lockheed Martin is the biggest. It reported a revenue of almost $60 billion US in 2019.
60 billion
That's
is
close to
crazy.
Russia's entire annual military spending.
Bro, I love how the narrator like says some stuff. Previously, they said that Russia has like a lot of like military equipment, but like a lot of them are outdated. But now look at this example. This is like really funny, honestly. Oh my god, bro! I just can't
Strength
stop
of the
laughing.
US military is also due to its huge military budget. In 2019, spending on the US military was a whopping $732 billion US.
732 US billion dollar, bro. That is crazy. That is even like greater than like a lot of countries' economy right here, bro. No wonder why US is so strong, because they have a lot of funding, you know. That's crazy, you know, like
That's almost
crazy.
3 times more than China, the world's second largest military spender, and is roughly 1/3 of the entire world's defense budget. While Russia
There is the answer. Why is US so strong? Because like look at the budget, like $700 billion. That's like twice as big as China. It's insanely crazy. So you know, like here you go.
is commonly regarded as the second most powerful army in the world, its budget consists of only $65 billion. Arguably, there is an aspect of purchasing power. For example, it's cheaper to pay a Russian or Chinese soldier, but the cost of high-quality military equipment is still the same around the world. The reason that the US can afford such an enormous military budget is that it's supported by a strong economy. America has been the world's largest economy since 1871. Its nominal GDP is currently $21.44 trillion US. This is almost a quarter of the global economy, and it's backed with plenty of natural resources, advanced infrastructure, and technology. Besides the ability to sustain an enormous defence budget, the US often uses its economic strength as a weapon by enforcing economic sanctions.
Guys, this is so true. Like, why is there ad, by the way? Sorry about the ad, but that is so true. Like, US is the richest country, you know, it is the global economy and the trade center in the world as well, like close to China. But like one thing that the US can use as its power is, you know, it can control the world's economy, you know, and it can also like collapse its rivals, you know, not only in terms of the military, but also in terms of the economy. So that is one of the greatest strengths that the US has, you know, it can just control everything, so.
Soft power is another factor that comes into play when assessing a country's might. The US is world-beating in culture, education, and technology. American pop culture has an enormous influence, and this won't change anytime soon. America also hosts most of the world's top-ranking universities with a record number of international students. The US
That is true, because I'm also an international student. I go to like a Davidson college. It's a really good school, you know, so
leads
I
the
wanna thank
world
the
of
US for that.
technology and digitalization as home to the world's most influential tech companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook. It's easy to think that
It's a
this
very good
doesn't
video.
seem important in warfare. But imagine an enemy soldier that would have to attack the country where his cousin studies, the country of his favourite music band, the country of his favourite actors from the movie that he watches on an American media platform like YouTube.
Guys, the narrator is like super funny, well informative, and she says it so perfectly. Like, that's actually true, you know, like there's like so many international students, so many immigration and so on in the US. Imagine being from Nepal, and then if you are ever in a fight with the US, which is never gonna happen, you know, like imagine having relatives and family, you know, that might not seem important, but that is a very important thing that the narrator has sort of covered on. So that's quite impressive.
Or an American smartphone with American software. Finally, there is another critical aspect. It is called the will to fight. And this is the single most important factor in war. The will to fight is the disposition to engage in combat, the determination to keep fighting even when facing precarious odds, and finally to win. At an individual level, a soldier with a low will to fight will avoid engagement with the enemy and is likely to flee when things get tough. A battle is won when the enemy's will to fight is broken. Wars don't end when one military destroys the other. Wars end when one side grows weary of fighting, doesn't see any further purpose in the continuation of the conflict, and gives up.
Ooh, okay.
The national will to fight is what keeps a nation fighting. This is
It's a great photo, by the
linked
way.
to a sense of patriotism, national identity, and motivation generated by the idea that one fights for what is right. In the past, this has been a strong point of the US, as Americans have been fighting against dictators and terrorists that lacked concern for human life and dignity.
That is very true, you know, like there has been like a lot of other stuff, but one thing I like about US is I like how US like tries to fight for like a right reason. It also like tries to like help like a lot of other countries in trouble, for example like Ukraine and so on, you know. So
in contrast, the USA has been regarded as a country that embodies values of freedom, democracy, and rule of law. It was the country that defined such values. Even more, it was the country that was willing to fight for these values. The American soldier has been motivated by a sense of moral supremacy rooted in the country's Christian tradition. However, America doesn't seem to be so cohesive in its values anymore. There are many factors intertwined that provoke this. It's a complex topic that deserves a study on its own. But the outcome is that America is now a country that is greatly divided among ideological lines and systems of belief. Many of its citizens...
Guys, this is so true. Like, something that really worries about America is like no one can destroy America except for itself, you know. Like right now there has been like a lot of issues, like a lot of segregation. This is something that could like really impact, you know. So I really pray that we're gonna have like a united nation, you know. So it's a great point actually, by the way.
I'm not sure what to believe in anymore, or even what they stand for. There have been many lessons in history. Small nations became great empires by holding high moral standards along with a disciplined and motivated army. A great empire's fall was usually preceded by internal strife and moral crisis. The final story of the United States of America as a global power is not yet written. The nation's strength rests upon its citizens and their decisions. It's a matter of this great nation getting back its cohesion and moral compass. That is, if it wants to keep its status as the world's greatest superpower and defender of
I really hope so. Whew. Wow. Whew. Guys, this was like one of the most well informative, you know, and one of the most fun videos that I've ever watched like recently. And I don't need to tell you why like US is considered to be the best and the most powerful country in the world. Everything was so clear, you know, in terms of its quality, you know, the way it has like the strongest navy and everything. That is just crazy, you know. So I really enjoyed watching this a lot, and thank you so much for watching this along with me. I really hope you like this video, and if you have any more recommendation, let me know in the comment section. And you know, I love America. I'm very grateful for everything it has given to all the people around the world. You know, it is a land of opportunities and so on. So but this was like really fun, and thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and have a great day. God